This is brought to you by the 21-Day Challenge, our Burn It Up coaching signature offer where we help people who are feeling stuck, overwhelmed, lost, lacking clarity to get crystal clear on their goal, their mission, their vision for their life, break it down into bite-sized steps, and then we give you daily one-on-one accountability and support to make sure that you follow through and you take the actions that you said you would, and you achieve your top goal within 21 days. You'll dial in your morning and nighttime routines. You'll get crystal clear on who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. At least take some really big steps towards that. If you want to find out more, send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com, and find me on Facebook and message me there. You can also ask, hey, tell me more about this 21-day challenge. I'm happy to share more about it. Now, I'm going to read the iTunes review of the week, and this week it is by Super Dave, I believe is the winner this week. Super Dave says, highly recommended, great stuff from a great guy, insightful talks and discussions that lead to meaningful change. Thanks so much, Dave. If you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store, and you can give us a review there. Thank you so much in advance for doing that, and we appreciate your feedback, what you love, what you want to see more of, how we can grow and improve and make this even more better. Even more better. I love that. I just made that up. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so we are going to introduce Marni in just a minute here. Before that, though, make sure you grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, open yourself up, get grounded, because who knows what kind of amazing experiences that we're going to be going through in this interview, because she is absolutely incredible. She is gifted, and she's here to impact your life and change it forever, potentially, because one moment, one idea, one choice, one decision can really change everything. So make sure you stick around all the way through to the end so you can get all the gold that Marni and I are going to be covering in this hour, okay? So I'm going to introduce her, and then we're going to bring her on. Marni Setless, a transformational life journey expert. She works with individuals, groups, and business teams struggling to break through self-limiting beliefs, roadblocks, and holdbacks, restricting them from a life of personal and business success. She guides her clients with proven solutions to these challenges using the fusion of energy healing, meditation training, and hands-on personal intuitive skills, which provide the shortcut to personal peace, restoring and renewing quality of life. Marni's own transformational journey and that of her son and family led her to the proven methodology she uses with her clients. Marni knows it always comes back to love. She says, learn to fly, F.L.Y. First, love yourself, and the world will follow. Free your love. And we're blessed to have her here with us today. Marni, are you ready to rock the house, superstar?
I am ready to rock the house, Chris.
Oh, we're now rocking it. We're rocking it. We're rocking the house, Marni. Thanks so much for being here and sharing your energy, your light, your love with us and our audience here at Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. You rock.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rock too.
Yes.
So what do you want to talk about tonight?
So we're going to dive right into the theme of the day, the question of the day, which is focus and overcome FOMO, fear of missing out. So, Marni, how have you approached this topic of focus and overcoming that fear of missing out?
Okay, so those for me are two totally separate places in the body, and yet they really affect each other.
Yes.
When I say places in the body, I'm really talking about chakras.
Okay.
So, and if somebody doesn't know what those are, they are energy centers that are throughout the body. There are 7 primary ones, but there are many more than that.
Right.
For today's, we'll just talk about the 7 because that's enough. You don't really need to focus on the others if you're dealing with the 7 right now. That's my job. So what we're talking about when you're talking about focus and FOMO. So FOMO, fear of missing out, is when someone is really not trusting themselves, trusting their decisions. There's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of comparison going on. And in the body where that takes place is the solar plexus, which is just below the rib cage, just above the belly button area. So that's your gut.
Okay.
So when people say, I don't trust my gut, that's what's going on. When they're not comfortable in their value, when they feel like they're not enough, when they question their decisions. And then that's where the FOMO comes in. oh, well, I said I couldn't do that. Now maybe I should have done that. That's
Mm.
all. It's all this wishy-washy self-doubt thinking that's going on, right?
Mm.
And what's going on there is there's an imbalance or a blockage
Mm.
in the solar plexus area. Um, those are amplified by, our thoughts create our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So we're choosing thoughts. We come into the world filled with love.
Mm.
We just came into the world, everything's love, 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 and then experiences, caregivers, different things we go through teach us things that become these, as the four agreements would say, our life laws, our lessons, our beliefs, and we choose those. And when I talk to clients about that, a lot of times, like, the fact that we have choice is two things. It's empowering, which is really cool,
Right.
and that's also that feeds your solar plexus, right?
Yeah.
But it's also responsibility. And then you go, oh shit. So I'm responsible for how I got. It's not blame,
Right.
because people go, oh, it's all
the
like,
aha,
well,
the aha moment.
yeah, it's the aha.
Yeah.
This is not about, oh shit, this is how I got here. My belief is that we come down here to play.
Yeah.
We come here to play, to this lifetime, whatever lifetime it is, to experience life in a way that's not, quote, perfect, so that we can experience what forgiveness is like. We can experience all these different things, because where we wouldn't, if we weren't in the lifetime here, everything's perfect. There's nothing to forgive. There's nothing, bad. We come down here, we get the law of polarity. Where one exists, so does its polar opposite. Where you have good, you have bad. Where you have up, you have down. And how do you experience, you said I'm a bright light. Well, how would you know that if you never experienced darkness? So that's FOMO for me, like, in a nutshell. I mean, that was long and wordy, but
I love
I'm
it.
long
I
and wordy.
love it.
So, and the other one, focus. So focus is, there's a lot of places in the body that affect focus. The first one is your root. That's the core, the root of your spine, that area, your root chakra, that is where your survival is. And so if something is out of whack, if it could be money issues you're struggling with to provide for yourself, all those things for survival, food, shelter, money, job, even relationship in some way, shape, or form, family, your tribe, your immune health, all of that formulates in that area. If something's off there, that's going to affect your focus. The main place I go with focus, there's two main places. So the root is one place I start, but that's not the main place. The main two places are your second chakra, which is your sacral area, just below your belly button. So people who have you feel tight in your hips. And I see this a lot. I practice yoga. So you see this a lot in yoga when people go to do hip openers and they're like, oh, or they're releasing and they start to cry. Yeah. And they're like, I don't know why I'm crying, because they're releasing this, because that's the place where you store or are in touch with your emotions. And when we're feeling overwhelmed, which in society today, just think about all the messages coming at you all the time, the technology, we're going 25 miles a minute or 25 miles an hour, probably more, 2,500. And we're trying to multitask, which really, if you multitask, you don't do anything well, right? Because you're like not focused. You're a little bit over here, a little bit over here, and a little bit over here. And you just feel like, oh my God, I can't get it all done. Things start to swirl. People get migraines from this. It's like, and you feel a loss of personal power. So that's part of focus. The other part of focus is right here. So this is your third eye, your sixth chakra area. This is the seat of your intuition. This is where a lot of focus also comes from. This is imagination. This is your ability to concentrate, your memory. So when you start to have blockages and issues there, that shows up in your body in other ways. The final place that comes to mind. So the top two are the sacral and the sixth chakra, right? But also your crown. So, because this to me, this is your umbilical to, I call my for spirituality, I say God. Other people say a lot of things, and whatever your word is for this, that's the word for you. There's no right or wrong here. It's what you're comfortable with. But I'm going to say God because that's my word.
I love it.
So this is my umbilical cord to God. And if I feel disconnected, I feel isolated, that can also affect focus. So focus is not just one place, and you have to really go below the surface to discover, well, what is it? What's the root cause of focus issue? And it can be multiple. It's not this thing when I'm looking at with energy medicine and looking at the body, it's not necessarily the one thing. You know, I'll use my son as an example. My son at 6 years old experienced trauma at the hands of an adult who emotionally abused him and created PTSD. Well, PTSD, that is extreme fight flight, which is an imbalance and blockage in the root chakra. However, your gut is greatly affected because it affects how you see yourself, how the world sees you, your self-esteem, your confidence. And if your gut health is off, then that's connected to your pituitary. So there's a lot. So there's multiple things going on here. He's gone. We've spent the last 3 years doing a lot of alternative work, helping him. And this last piece that's been really hard for him is getting his voice back. Because that's another area that goes. You know, when you get bullied, you lose the ability to speak up for yourself. Or, so for him, and it comes in two ways, because this is part of the fight and flight as well, because you freeze or you go. So he experiences it as over talking, excessive talking at school, where he gets in because he's feeling distrustful and scared, or he freezes and doesn't say anything. So fight, flight, and that's throat chakra as well. So it's not just one thing. And sometimes it can be like dominoes when things are going off in the body. And it's stress that we experience every day. I mean, there's good stress and bad stress. That's all part of what's causing this dis-ease in the body.
Yeah. And it's really having the guidance to know how to work through those stuck energy places, which is what you do, like you, among many things, like you really empower people to be aware of what's going on in your body, what's the correlation between this part in your body and this energy and this problem or challenge or obstacle that you're experiencing in your life, and how do we create more flow? How do we free you up? How do we, introduce more love so that you can get back to what you wanted to do, to play here, to expand, to love, to connect with people,
and to grow. I mean, we're here. That's one of the reasons we're here. Totally, to grow. And that you said it beautifully. I love how you said all that. That is, and I'm thinking of, I mean, every walks in, they don't all know what exactly I do, but I've tried everything, and I don't know what else to do. And I had one client that came to me that was having a problem with her elbow. And I typically, not always, but I will typically feel in my body, and I don't know which client it is that's coming, but a couple days before, all of a sudden I get some kind of something going on in my body, and that's not mine. Okay, that's somebody else's. Well, this client, I had just seen the dentist, and I started getting a toothache. And I thought, okay, that's crazy. They just took x-rays. I know there's nothing wrong with my mouth. And I'm like, okay, there's somebody coming in. There's going to be and I'm thinking, and I'd never had anything like this before. It's going to be a mouth problem. I egoed it. I didn't listen in. I just went, oh yeah, it's a mouth problem. And she came to me, and the second she walked in, she started describing, it was diagnosed as tennis elbow. And she said, this is going to sound so weird, but the pain is like a toothache. Ding, 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 ding.
Wow.
And what was really going on was she's an awesome person. She gives so much of herself. And actually, she's a radio personality here in Charlotte. And she also started a nonprofit to help preteen teenage girls
Mm.
be empowered.
Mm.
And she was giving so much of herself to everybody else. She was not experiencing any sweetness in her own life. So it felt like a cavity in her elbow.
Wow.
And she got the message. It was an easy, quick message. She got the message. She made immediate changes in her life, little by little, just spending a little bit more time, for herself, having some time with friends, finally saying yes to the guy who wanted to take her out on a date, different things like that. And it was gone and it didn't come back. So that she was able to then work on some other things. So we continued that journey. And that's how it works. It's a journey. Things that I experienced years ago that got me to the place I am, they still, it's not like they're gone forever. They're gone, but they crop up in new ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they come up not in this, oh my gosh, it's so painful way, more, as you get further away from it and more healing goes on, it's more an observance of, oh shit, I'm dealing with that again. Or, oh, that came up. I must have like fallen asleep on that. All right. That's where you go to eventually. It's stages, right?
Yeah.
So, but it keeps coming back up because it's part of how my clients connect with me, because my clients and I share a lot of similarities in what we've gone through or what they're going through.
And I wanted to ask you about that in terms of being a transformational life journey expert. Like, what is that look like? The value that you add to your clients? I'm sure it's diverse. Just based on what we've talked about so far. Tell us a little bit more about what that means as far as your stand for your clients.
For me, it is, so you have breakthroughs and you have transformation. To me, they're not the same. Breakthrough so for me, when a client comes to see me, we start with awareness. That's the first thing, because you can't heal what you don't know. But the first thing I will tell them is, we're not talking about fixing. People talk about, oh, I need this fixed in my life. You're not broken. Like, let's like forget about that. You're not broken. And if you feel like you have to be fixed, that puts you into this thought place, and the feelings that go with that all right away are taking you to a place of not enough. And then you're in sacrifice and lack and you're a magnet. So whatever you magnetize and focus on, that's what you're drawing into your life. Your life doesn't know, I don't want that. Your life just knows, I'm focused on, I can't pay the bills. I can't pay the bills. Whatever it is. And you get more opportunity to deal with that until you decide to look at it differently, shift that belief. So we start there. Awareness is huge. And there's levels. There's like 8 levels of awareness.
What?
That talk about. Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah, well, think about it. Have you ever gone looking for a car, and you go and you test drive all these cars, and then you find the one that you want, and it's new to you, but it's not one that you've seen around before. And then all of a sudden, it's everywhere, right?
Yep.
Everywhere you go, everybody has one now. Because I have one, everybody has one. Okay, well, no, nothing's changed other than your awareness.
Yeah.
You got me? So that's the first thing, is you like, okay, I'm aware of it, but maybe you're still not doing anything about it. You're aware of it after you have this action or reaction.
Right.
Then maybe you become aware of it during the reaction, but you don't feel powerful enough or have enough tools or know what to do to stop. Then you're in the midst of it and you realize what you're doing. You're, oh shit, okay, I gotta stop. And you stop it in the middle. Then you start to feel yourself at the beginning. And you are able to, okay, and hold that. and so you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Stages. Yeah. And so when you become aware of that one thing, it doesn't go from 1 to 7 or 8 like overnight. It's a journey. It's part of the process. And I'm this, you and I were talking about this the other day. I'm a rip the Band-Aid off person. Yep. I like to okay, I know where we need to go. I want to, let's do it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. I'm going to face all my fears and go for it. But I also told you part of that rip the Band-Aid off is almost too fast sometimes because you need to experience some of that discomfort because you'll pick up some things that are subtle below the surface that are so important to your healing that you'd miss if you went too fast. You know, so awareness. So that's where you start.
Yeah. So awareness is something that you really give your clients the opportunity to discover and start to master, and then as they grow through that, then like what becomes available in terms of transformation, because that's something that you focus on.
Okay, so the next piece, what starts to happen with awareness is start to have breakthroughs, and you start to notice you start to take, I don't want to say control because it's not really control, but you start to be intentional and more conscious of your choices in your life. And you start to notice your life begins to shift. You start drawing a different type of energy of people to you. Your job may change, or the people that you deal with in your job may change.
Right.
Your money situation. You just notice that you're starting to feel better. And I have a long program. I say long, it's about a year. Love You, which is a year-long transformation to get to that next level. And a lot of people do it 2 or 3 times because they go through the same program, but you're at a different level as you go through it, right?
Right.
Well, usually by months 4 to 6, that desperation pain that brought them is gone. But they haven't integrated fully all of the shifts. But yet, because the desperation's gone, it's like, oh, I don't need to do this anymore. I'm good. And it's this resistance starts to get in. And I some people would go, oh my God, isn't that awful? And I'm like, no, I am thrilled when that happens because that means they're doing the work. They're doing the work, and there's an opportunity for me to really hold their hand through this time of obstacle and struggle, and sometimes lovingly hit them in the face with a 2x4.
Yep.
As best I can.
Yep.
And work through it with them because what's happening is they're having breakthroughs, and I think we talked about this the other day too. Is that, does anybody say, I want to look at my resistance? Sure. Okay. Let's do it. Okay. No, nobody says that. You instinctively go, I'm heading for the hills, dude. Yep. I'm out of here. Well, that's what's going on is they're breaking through, and they're at that beginning of transformation, and they're like, but I don't know what's going to happen. It's the unknown. It's the change. I'm unhappy over here, but I know what this is.
Yeah.
So I'm safe, right? And so once that happens and we get through that stage, like life changes. One of my clients who has become such a good friend, she had a lot of anger at her body when we started. And we went through, and one of the beautiful things that I offer to clients in this Love You program is we do a retreat at the beginning of the year. So we just did it in January. And that year, the theme was body love. And there's no coincidences. It just happened to be. And when we got through that, the work that she did, the transformations that began to take place, she started to forgive her body. She ended up writing letters to her body parts.
Wow.
And she's an editor by trade, but has always wanted to be an activist and a writer. She's finished her manuscript, and they're in the editing stages of this powerful book of loving the body. So, I mean, that right there, I mean, the transformation, she went from being scared to get back in yoga to doing handstands.
Wow.
And she's a mom to two little girls who, I mean, she's loving how she's seeing it play out with them and how it's affecting them and the changes. Like, she had a great marriage and it's just taken her relationship to another level. Every time she tells me something new, I mean, my family knows, like, you got a text from a client, didn't you? Because I'm like, yes, I love it more. It's very, very exciting. It is gratifying to me because I know from all the shit that I healed for myself, how hard it is, how painful it is, what a struggle it can be, and how isolating and lonely you can feel. That and then you make these changes and this transformation, and your life just starts to change. I mean, I don't know if I've shared at all with you. So when I was born, I grew up just with my clairvoyant gifts. It was just part of who I was. I always knew things, didn't know how I knew them, just knew them.
Right.
And then around, what's that age? Like between 8 and 10, we moved away from family, and the place that we moved always felt darker to me, and I could never describe why. It just felt darker, dimmer. I started to get bullied at school. And I did speak up for a while, and I wasn't getting help. I developed early as a kid. So 4th, 5th grade, I was wearing a bra. And kids are not nice. They tease. And I had very white blonde hair. I was one of a couple of Jewish kids in our school, and just a lot of differences. And then I had the name Marni, which, nobody had ever heard of that. And I used to go home and cry. Why couldn't I have dark hair and my name be normal, like Lisa or Kim or something somebody had heard of before? I hated my name. Hated it. Hated that I had white blonde hair. I mean, it was just, I was hating on myself a lot, and I became bulimic to numb out the pain, to numb out that I didn't love. I stopped loving myself. I disconnected from God. I mean, you could probably look at all my chakras at that time and everything was blocked. Like, I just didn't want to feel. And when you don't want to feel, that's the sacral areas. Like, I just numbed out all the time. In fact, so much so that there's parts of that time period in my life that are like amnesia. Like, I don't remember at all. And it was years. And I was forced into therapy once I went into the workplace by my boss. It was basically go to therapy or get the fuck out.
Wow.
That was it, because my protection was anger. I was like a bull in a china shop, just ramrodding things, and I was really good at it. And I have big energy. I mean, you're on the screen, you can probably feel it, like big energy. So when I get upset, it's big. When I am happy, it's big. Everything's big. Laugh, which I used to laugh like this because I used to get teased by my loud, obnoxious laugh. That's what they said. So every part of me had been criticized. I went to treatment, which came out of therapy, because I finally admitted I was bulimic. And so this is from age 9 to about 24, I was bulimic. And there were good times during that time. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still wonderful things that occurred. In treatment, I learned to meditate. They called it relaxation therapy. And I remember the first time we sat there, and I was laying on the floor, and we're listening to this guided imagery thing. And I started getting messages again, because all that clairvoyant stuff had gone dark, quiet. And I had forgotten it. I forgot what it was. And so we came out of this meditation, and I'm talking to my friends. I'm like, so what did you see? And what did you hear? And they're looking at me like I'm from another planet. Okay, lady, whatever. But that is what began my journey back.
Yeah.
Was meditation. That's why I'm so passionate about helping people find a style of meditation or mindfulness that works for them. It does so much for you in rewiring your brain, in your health, your physical, everything. So that was the beginning. And then someone took me to, a friend of mine said, come meet me Friday night. Let's go to a chakra class. And I went, okay. I didn't know if we were going to a cooking class on chocolate, some weird chocolate, or we were going to some dating thing. I had no idea. And I sat listening to this woman talk about energy. And it was like this memory of who I was just came flooding back. None of this information was new. It was like, and I was like someone in the desert, desperate for water. Like I had to have more. So here I am, this advertising executive who's like, high tests, high stress, everything going on. And in my side life, I was this Zen lady. It was like, and it was two very dual personalities for a long time. And I didn't share it. But I was helping people on the side as I learned things. But I struggled with the self-ID. I struggled with trusting myself with other people. The same thing my clients come to me for. The very same thing. I didn't accept parts of myself. The stuff I didn't like, I was like, oh, I want to change that. So we'll just like put it in the shadow and not admit it, not talk about it. And one day, my friends from this healing, we had all learned energy. We were certified energy healers. And we were, every month, we would get together, and we were all in advertising, which was interesting. We'd get together for lunch at somebody's house, and we would play. And we'd take turns getting on a table and work. Now, this is how much I didn't trust myself in the beginning, because we learned everything a very specific way. And which my husband, he loves the manual. Give me the manual. He's an accountant. He's a director of finance, and he's very black and white, and I am the rainbow. So, which we make a great marriage because of. So we're sitting there, and I will never forget this. We're at my friend Mindy's house, and I had taken the afternoon off. So everybody said, all right, well, we'll work on Marni first, and then Marni, you'll be part of doing everybody else, and then when we have to go, you'll do the healing on Mindy. And I didn't really think about it, but I will always sit there, and we'd start working on everyone. And I was the one that would be with my eye open, looking around the table. What's everybody else doing? Am I doing it right? Because I would be getting messages that weren't like how we were taught. Right. Go here, go here. Things that I don't know, how would I know this? I don't know, why am I going there? And I didn't trust it. And mine looked different than what everybody else was doing. So I just went, oh, mine must be wrong. Oh, nobody's on the heart chakra, I'll go there. Nobody's in the grief area, I'll go there, just because that place wasn't taken. Well, this day I couldn't do that because everybody left, and Mindy got on the table, and I went, okay, well, Mindy's got her eyes closed, so I can do whatever I want. And I'm just going to go for it. And I'm going to do everything I hear because nobody else can see. Yeah. And I got all done. And at that point, I wasn't asking, well, why am I doing this? I was just doing and not knowing why. And when I got done, she sat up and she said, I don't know what you did, but that was amazing. And I looked at her and I said, I don't know what I did either. I just listened to what I was told to do and did it. And then I started to talk about what I did. And as I did, I started to hear why. And I said, oh, I'm hearing that I was told to go here because. And more information started to come through. And that was it for me. Like that was, I'm supposed to be doing this. And I started to make a plan. It took me years, but it started to make a plan to leave. And I didn't leave on my timetable because the universe knows more than me. You know, we make plans and God laughs. And I made plans to be out of in September. I was going to be out of advertising, and I got laid off in April. And my son's trauma happened the end of May. And had I been in a corporate job, there's no way I could have helped him the way that I was able to do. So that's how all of this came. That's a long way of talking about how all this came to be. But, you know, along the way, and I keep learning. I love to learn and do all this. That's how I got to the energy healing part. The mediumship, that came later.
That's so incredible.
That was, yeah. It's I didn't accept the mediumship for a while. That was something I was like, nope, I'm good. And my son is a medium. So it's something that it helps him feel, it normalizes it for him so that he's not afraid. When we had, in fact, Thanksgiving this past year, we were sitting in our dining room, and we love to cook, so everybody comes to our house. And my dad was sitting in our dining room looking into the kitchen, which our refrigerator is sitting there. And all of a sudden he got this really weird look on his face. I was, "Are you okay? What's the matter?" And he said, I just saw something. I thought it was a reflection, but there's no way it could have been. And he started to describe it. And my son Eli goes, "Oh, Papa," he said, "that's just spirits. No big deal." And everybody at the table died laughing. I was like, okay, no big deal. Because that happens at everybody's house.
Apparently.
Spirits come by the refrigerator. So yeah, it's part of the journey. It's been, but for me, it goes back to, I know that I'm here to help people remember how to love themselves.
So
that's it.
Let's dive into that. Let's dive into what we really need to know, to take action on, shifts of our beliefs or our paradigm, our mindset. What can we really start doing right now, Marni?
So there's definitely things you can begin to do. And the first thing I would say is starting with learning how to spend some time with yourself and hear yourself. That is the biggest thing, whether it's meditation, mindfulness. And people give me lists all the time of how I can't quiet my voice, and I can't this, and I don't have time. And I absolutely, totally agree. And I can help you figure out how to make it work in your lifestyle. Because if it's too much of a stretch, you're not going to do it. Let's be real. We got a shit ton going on. If you're going to tell me I have to sit for an hour when I've never done that before, it's never going to happen. We were talking, you and I were talking about this the other day, because you were now sitting for an hour, right?
Yep.
But that wasn't happening, right? Okay. So you know what I'm talking about. And you know from doing it that 60 seconds can change your whole day.
Yeah.
You can be having a really tough time. And this for me is a foundation. So when my son was at the worst, I mean, it was, if I told you some of the things that went on, you'd think it was a Lifetime movie of the week. It was so bad. And at one point we were in a hospital, and people said, how did you cope? I'm like, well, first of all, I mean, I cried. It was terrible. You know, like, I dealt with my feelings. I said, but I didn't stop meditating, not one day, because that is what helped me find the peace when everything else was swirling in chaos. I had that moment, which gave me the foundation to be able to see things just a little more clearly, just a little more clarity, just a little more peaceful, to hear and really make the best decisions. So that's the biggest shortcut to peace right there. And it's really figuring out, not looking at it as, oh my God, it's this hard thing. I teach people how to gain peace in a busy, loud coffee shop. And I do it on purpose because people say this doesn't shut off, right? Your mind, your thoughts are going like this. That's gonna happen till you die. Like, like you're always gonna have thoughts. It's learning how that inner voice, the quieter one, it's learning how to turn your focus to that. Because this is always gonna be there. And so I purposely do it in a loud place so they can feel that peace. And when I do, the jaws drop. They can't believe that they did that right there. And then it's, well, I can only do it with you. No, you've got to make it fun.
Yeah.
When we were kids, most of us, when we were kids, we were fun. And that's one of the things, that's another thing that I help people get back to is embracing your inner child. I'm lucky. I have a 10-year-old. So we do fun all the time. We have chocolate at breakfast. We get paint all over ourselves. We go to the fountains where you can dance in the fountains in our clothes that get wet.
Yep.
We do silly things and it's fun. And it's fun that I can do that as an adult. And that brings about laughter, and laughter raises your vibe. And that, and when we're talking about vibes, we're talking about where is your energy vibrating? Are you down in the dumps? Are you up in your heart? We were talking about my dog when I was in the green room, and I said, can you hear him chomping on his bone? Because he's got a bone filled with peanut butter. It's like crack. I mean, he won't leave it alone. It's hilarious. But our pets, people who have pets, they vibrate in their fourth chakra, in their hearts all the time. That's why people are just so happy around their pets. Pets, kids, even people working with seniors. That's all in that upper vibe. But we move, you don't want to be way up here, all spiritual when it's time to clean your house.
That's right.
I don't think you get the dust out, you want to be in your second chakra and getting stuff done and feeling powerful, and you're right. So it's learning. That would be the next thing, is to start to learn the language. And that's really what I call it, is the language of the chakras, because those are messages to your body, and you can learn how to move your energy so that you're intentional with your energy and you're not walking into the grocery store and getting absorbed by all of everybody else's energy. And then you went from being in a happy mood to a crappy mood.
Yeah.
Because then it's just taking over. And so these are things that I start to give to my clients. I call them shortcuts to peace. They're just small tools that you can pull out anytime. We were on an airplane a year ago, spring break, and my son was coughing. It's a nervous cough that he has. He wasn't sick. And the man in front of us, who was with his son, kept giving him the hairy eyeball. And my son was getting nervous and it was making him uncomfortable. And we had to change planes in Atlanta. And we got off the plane and he said, Mommy, he said that it made my energy feel off. Like, can you help me shift it? And I was like, sure. I said, let's sing. And he's like, in the airport? I'm like, yeah. So we sang Do Re Mi. You know that song from Sound of Music?
Yep.
Do, a deer, a female deer.
Yep.
Okay, so if you start at do's at Do, Re, Mi, it goes all the way up your chakras, and you can feel it if you put your hands on your body.
Wow.
You can feel your vibes moving as you sing it. We sang 3 rounds of that at the top of our lungs in the middle of Atlanta Hartsfield Airport. People are walking by, and most of them who know the movie were like, oh, that's hilarious. And they're smiling. Some sang with us, and it shifted the vibe. So that's a little bit of the childlike stuff. It's a little bit of getting yourself out of your comfort zone, right? But it's about taking care of you, self-care. That's another one. What do you do for self-care? As a caregiver, when I couldn't leave the house a lot, that became so intrinsically important.
Yeah.
5 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, you've got to give yourself something. And it, in addition to meditation, whether it's, once a month you go get a mani-pedi, you get a massage, you spend time at a coffee shop with a friend, whatever, you read a book, something that's just for you that makes you feel yummy. That's super, super important. And people will say, but I have all these things to do for everybody else. I don't have time. And that's a belief. And because if you focus on that, right, you don't have time, but you can create time. It's that's part of the shift, is creating the time. You think about on the airplane, the first thing they say when those things drop, you put the oxygen on you first. Well, is that selfish? Is it selfish to put it on you first? Yes, it is. However, it's also very giving, because if you don't take care of you and put the oxygen on you, you can't help anybody else.
That's right.
You're going to be toast. People who give and give and give are wonderful human beings. They don't give to themselves. And so they are depleted and exhausted. They become resentful, cranky, or they keep it all bottled up inside. And eventually it works. They're so imbalanced in their heart energy. That's where breast and lung cancer develop. Because there's such a depletion, because the way the chakras work, you're taking energy in every single day, and it comes in through the heart, because the heart's your bridge, and it gets divided equally to all the chakras. Well, the chakras are spinning, and they're supposed to be spinning, balanced. If your chakra is constantly out of balance, all that energy is going in to try and rebalance the chakra. Well, a balanced chakra is maintaining the emotional, mental, and physical well-being in that area. So if your throat chakra is out of balance, you can have issues with your gums, your jaw, your throat, laryngitis, chronic things that come up, tightness in the back of the neck, issues in the vertebrae. You start thinking about that. That's why heart chakra, if you're not loving on yourself, how can you accept love from someone else fully if you're not able to give it and accept it from yourself? So in May, I am offering and launching something I have not done in a way before. Because one-on-one is like, I'm super powerful one-on-one, and I can do amazing things. In my retreat this year, I did a mini version of this, but it's group energy healing. And over a period of 2 days, we're going to free love. Free your love is literally about removing the blocks and rebalancing all 7 chakras. And that's why it's over 2 days, because you couldn't do that in one. You'd blow people out of the water. They would just be like not in a good place. You've got to do it over a period of it's too much. And so they're going to get 3 things, because we're going to do some kind of experience. So there may be meditation, journaling, different experiential exercises. Then I'm going to stand through this group of 200 people, and I'm going to walk through doing this group energy healing. And then they're going to get, for each of those chakras, a shortcut to peace. Some tool that they can take out of there that day and start helping them continue what they started. And of course, I do have some personal private slots that if they want to continue that transformation to work privately, blah, 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 it's late, privately with me to continue the transformation. But I've never offered anything like this other than in small groups. This is going to be the biggest one I've ever done. And when I do it in retreat, it is, it amazes people that they can, with their eyes closed, sitting down, they're just sitting there and they can feel what I'm doing with the energy, where it's moving. Not everybody, because some people are still learning how to feel that, but a good portion, you're like, so there was one point, like you were doing something overhead, and I could feel this tingle in my crown, and there was, and they can describe what it felt like to them, and it's very individual. But what happens is, so what I do one-on-one, can you imagine a group, whether it's 10 people or 200 people, with a similar intention, even though they're individual to them, we're all doing root chakra work. We're all doing, it's like a rocket ship blast of energy that takes them, like, it's like, bam, it's going to be so amazing. I'm so excited. I can't wait for May to get here. We're doing it right in time with the full moon. Ooh. And I don't know if you know about the moon phases, but we just had the full moon. I mean, it just happened. I am someone, I was born during halfway between the waning moon and the waxing moon. Okay. So I pretty much get to decide where I get my power, but I'm a child of the light. So I get my power from the full moon. Wow. And the full moon is a time when, as you're coming into the full moon, there's a spotlight that's being shined on all the things that are ready for you to see and look at and be aware. And you get to decide, is this the one I want to play with? Is this the one I want to heal? What things am I ready to deal with? Wow. And you get to clean it out, because that's the time with the full moon, is clean it out, make room for the new. Because in the new moon, you activate it. Yeah, it's really cool. So it's going to be amazing. You can tell I get very passionate about it.
You do. I love it. Love the energy. So, Marni, if we could give our audience, our listeners who've been like in so much value, so much joy just listening to you, you have great energy, great wisdom, great stories. If we could give them, something to free their love a little bit more, just that they can implement right away. We mentioned meditation. That's a really great one. Meditation, mindfulness. Is there anything else that you'd recommend as a key that's helped you, or that you recommend to your clients to free that love?
Okay, so being present in your body. That is the one a lot of people aren't. In fact, you can't see right now, but I'm actually wearing a knee brace right now. My knee's fine. It's healed. It's more that Western medicine said, keep it like this until Friday, and where he's going to look at it again. Because it's another story for another time. But when you're not present in your body, which happens to everybody, including me, you're rushing and doing, things happen. My message in doing that was slow your roll, Marni. You weren't present in your body, and I wasn't paying attention to all the signs. And I got it. So to be present in your body, you want to be something that's called grounded. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. And even in corporate America, I used to do, now the times of metal keys is going away. So, quickly, people are not using keys anymore. But those of us that still have metal keys, where does metal come from?
The ground, earth.
The ground, earth, exactly. And when you are grounded into the earth, you are more present in your body. You feel safer. That's all root chakra. And so when you're feeling a little anxious, when you're feeling a little swirl, when you're not in your body, I used to sit with my hand on my metal key in business meetings, rubbing my key under the table. Nobody knew. It was very personal, private. It could be metal. I have a gold bracelet on. It could be the metal, you can't see from all my other stuff, but the gold bracelet. You can rub the gold bracelet. Nobody knows. It's so, some people are worried about, everybody's going to know what I'm doing. They're going to think I'm weird. See, I don't care. People think I'm weird. My neighbors see me go out and hug my trees, literally hug on my trees. So I'm like, I put energy into my lawn. So I'm like, they whatever they think, that's their stuff. My lawn, when we had a drought, my lawn stayed green. Nobody knew why. But so that's one way. Yeah. Being barefoot, that's another way to ground yourself, especially if you're in a place that's warm, where you feel comfortable going out, putting your feet on the earth. And I don't mean the concrete in your driveway or the road. I mean the grass, the sand, the dirt. And if you can't do that, what about plunging your hands into the dirt? Even if you don't have a green thumb, just playing with, like they have those Zen gardens, well, don't take the little rake and play with it. Put your fingers in it. Play with it with your fingers. Get your fingers touching the earth. Anything that will, and actually that's very mindful. You can do what I do and literally go out and hug a tree. That's also very helpful. You can eat things that are grounding, things that are more and this chakra is red. So eating things that are more red, and I'm not talking about red hots and processed shit. I'm talking about more red things, like strawberries. Things that are more processed, less energy. So we want to, not that, look, it's not going to be that I'm never going to have an ice cream cone. I'd be lying if I said that, because I enjoy my ice cream cone every once in a while. But I can feel in my body, my vibes raise up when I eat nourishing food, and your body will tell you when you have a craving. And I know women get this a lot with PMS. They'll get the sweet or the salty, but you can honor that craving in a way that still nourishes your body. And when you do, the craving goes away. So there's definitely things you could do, and start to listen. Because if the first thing you hear is, oh, I want ice cream. Okay, well, what's the second thing you hear? If you don't get ice cream, what would be the second thing? And usually when it's something less nourishing, the second thing that your body says is going to be nourishing. So if you can pause and go for something that nourishes, and because what you're experiencing is different. So we worked a lot on the solar plexus in our retreat this year. It was all about trusting love. So yellow food, that includes ginger, turmeric, anything yellow, dandelion tea, yellow squash.
Squash.
You start to think, and you can get really creative on things. I am like, I crave squash all the time. I love squash. That's probably why, because I've done a lot of third chakra solar plexus work. So I'm trying to think of what else we can do. But those are just a few things. Grounding, mindfulness, really listening to your body and starting to nourish your body. Hydrate, water, and you can program your water.
Yes, you can.
So program your water, program whatever it is you're drinking, and by putting it, what is it you want from it? Yeah,
so I drink this one. This one says, good morning, you've got it. Remember your goal, that's it. Keep drinking, no excuses, a little bit more, well done. So this is like, it's pre-built, so it says, hey, drink a gallon a day, and it's like encouragement and stuff. But I used to have, like I'd get a label printer, and I would print it out and put it like on the top of it. So every time I take a sip, I see the words of like, I'm living my purpose, or I am abundant, or whatever else it might be. Super powerful, super powerful.
One more thing. Here's one more thing. And we do this in our house. All of us do this every morning when we wake up, and every night before we go to bed. Build a gratitude practice. And I say practice, not a perfect. Okay. So, I mean, that's meditation, same thing. We're human. We forget. We fuck up, whatever it is. And don't beat yourself up. Just move on to the next one. So when I wake up in the morning, I see 3 things I'm grateful for. And I mean, it could be anything. I'm grateful my eyes are opening this morning. I mean, it doesn't matter, but they're different every single day. And 3 things before I go to bed at night. It's the last thing I think about before I go to sleep. That's what I take with me to sleep. And that shifts what you dream about, shifts your brain into what you're creating the next day. Those 3 things. And I only do 3, power of 3. I just believe it's my lucky number, power of 3, awesome number. If you can only do 1, do 1. Start with 1. Start with the bite size that you can manage. And no judgment. Do what you can manage. And then come up with 1 I am statement. 1 I am. So if your solar plexus is imbalanced and you want to help balance it, and you struggle with trust, I am trust. And every time you start to feel that distrust, and these are more powerful being said out loud. So
Yes.
all this stuff I'm telling you is out loud. I am trust. I would this year, the one that I added was I am flow. That's my word of the year is flow. Last year it was ease.
Yeah.
I am ease. If you struggle with root chakra, it could be I am safe. If you're working on love, I am love.
Yeah.
So, and keep it simple.
Simple.
We were getting coffee one day recently, and they said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Marni." And they said, "I.E." And I said, "Nope, just Marni with an I. Keep it simple." And she laughed. And so when my coffee got called, "Marni with an I, keep it simple." So, but that's shortcuts to peace is about keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Don't make it hard. Don't make it complex. In corporate America, I used to call it, let's Sesame Street it. Let's make it easy.
Yeah.
Make it easy. It doesn't have to be hard. And when we put all this other stuff on it, that's what makes it hard. That's what makes us run the other way because it seems too hard and complicated.
And we don't want hard and complicated. We want simple and easy, and that's what you're here to help us do, Marni. So how can our audience who's loving this conversation, they're loving the new perspectives, the great advice and tips that you're giving, the secrets to really be in our body, to open ourselves up to receive and be more love, how can they get more of that? How can they continue their journey with you, Marni?
So you can contact me directly. Okay. Anybody that wants to have an additional conversation, you can text me for sure at 704-516-0616. That's probably the quickest way to get to me. Although I don't do things in the middle. Once I'm with my family, that's a boundary. So like weekends, family time, I will get back as quickly as possible during the week. Another way is through Facebook. At Marni Healer is my Facebook page, or Instagram at Marni Intuitive Healer. Those are all quick ways. Or you could send me an email if email is your thing. My husband nicknamed me Giggles Love Bug. That's where that comes from. And now that you're seeing, probably kind of get why. So it's my email address is giggleslovebug@aol.com.
I love it.
And it's just like it sounds, all one word, Giggles Love Bug. Yeah, people laugh and laugh, but then they meet me and they go, "Yeah, I get it. I get it." So those are really the best ways. I look at all of them. I do try to stay off of social media because I just don't like to get. I'm there, but I'm there like for a bit and then I'm out. And email's the same way. I go in, I look at it, and I'm out. Because I also spend a tremendous amount, like you spend an hour meditating, I spend a tremendous amount of time for myself, but I also spend another amount of time for my clients and connecting to my clients' energy so that I can best help them, whether it's remote work, because I work with clients all over the country. So we don't have to be in Charlotte, North Carolina for you to come see me in person. We can Zoom like this. We can do the phone. I have clients that just do it over the phone. It's energy is energy, and I literally put the phone on the table and talk to them, and they, as I'm working on them, and do what needs to be done, and it's great, and that's it. And whatever your question is, I would love to help you. And if I'm not the right person for you, I know a shit ton of other healers. It's not all about everybody's the right person for me. Energy recognizes energy. Yeah. And maybe like some of the things I'm saying, and as we talk, you're like, I'm not sure if she's the one for me, but I like this stuff. Okay. Yeah. Well, let me introduce you. You're getting what you need. Yeah. So I talk to people, we get into a conversation. What's the biggest thing is what's going on in your life that you want help with? Let's talk about the pain. What's there? Yeah. Let's talk about what you want. And then we talk about what I do and how I can help you. Beautiful. But if that doesn't fit, whatever the investment cost in doesn't matter. Because if this ain't right, like we can't work together. It's got to feel right for both of us. And so if what I'm saying feels good, but my energy's off, let me hook you up with somebody else. The point of it is, let's get you back into love, because with each person that I help get back into love, we're putting more love in the world. So this whole conversation we're having with all your listeners that are listening, we're all putting more love in the world, because they're going to take this and they're going to share it with all of their tribes, and they're going to share beyond that. And little by little, that love just grows and grows. And for me, it's this, I'm a child of the 70s. So there's an old 70s Coke commercial where they're standing on top of a mountain and they're singing, "I'd like to teach the world to sing." And it's all different cultures. It's a melting pot of people, colors, shapes, sizes. And it's all, to me, that is what love is about, is all of us embracing each other. And whether the differences and the likenesses together.
That's right.
And that's what I'm wanting to put.
That's what we're doing, Marni. I appreciate you. I love you. Everyone who's listening or watching, definitely stay connected with this powerhouse woman, because Marni, you're doing amazing things. I'm so excited to see the rooms ignite with energy, with love, with freedom, and just like, oh my gosh, peace and presence and being in their body, and a whole new sense of aliveness because of who you are and how you show up and the gifts that you're giving. You're amazing, and thank you for what you do. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much, Chris. And you are absolutely incredible. And thank you for inviting me in. And thank you, everybody who's watching and listening, for being here. I just want to help you be more in love. And if this did it, amazing. I'm so grateful. Very, very grateful. Thank you, Chris.
Awesome, Marni. We'll see you soon.
I guess
okay?
we're done, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
Great. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.